Hello everyone, Mr. Lipchick here, and the topic of this segment of instruction is Congress versus the President. Congress and the President. The system of checks and balances requires cooperation between Congress and the President if each is going to accomplish their goals. The Congress must approve of many executive branch actions, such as presidential appointments and treaties. The President has significant power, however, in the veto. It is very difficult to get a two-thirds majority in both houses of Congress to override the veto. The Congress and the presidency have a long history of cooperation and conflict. Constituents are a source of conflict. Frequently, the legislative goals conflict with the wishes of individuals in certain states and congressional districts. Checks and balances are a cause of conflict. The President and Congress counteract one another. Presidents threaten to veto bills, and Congress amends bills and sometimes overrides them. Party politics are a major source of conflict. When Congress and the President are of different parties, frequently they become gridlocked and cannot accomplish anything. The organizational structure of Congress may cause conflict. Committees and procedures of Congress may be used to delay and kill legislation favored by the President. Differing political timetables for the President and Congress are a source of conflict also. The President has a much shorter tenure than senators and representatives because of the two-term limit. The President, therefore, has a greater sense of urgency about effecting change than Congress does. And there is a struggle for power. Historically, presidents and Congress have always struggled for the upper hand. Congress, however, has dominated policymaking, with the exception of a few strong presidents. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, exercised a great deal of power in the 1930s to handle the Depression. Presidents usually assume greater powers, however, to deal with a national crisis. Presidential emergency powers. In 1933, Congress gave the President greater powers to deal with national emergencies such as war and the economy. These were needed to deal with serious domestic and international issues at the time. After the Vietnam War, however, Congress removed these emergency powers. Now the President must notify Congress to declare a state of emergency. The state of emergency can last no longer than 1 year. Vietnam eroded the confidence of the people in government, and that is why many of these powers were taken from the President. During the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln exercised enormous powers. There were many Southern sympathizers in the North, and Lincoln feared that they would spy on and sabotage the war effort. As a result, he suspended habeas corpus, allowing people to be imprisoned without a trial. In 1941, Congress passed the War Powers Act, giving FDR the powers to conduct the war against the Axis powers. He was granted the power to censor the mail. Under the Act, the government could also acquire land for naval and military purposes. The Budget Empowerment and Control Act of 1974 created the Congressional Budget Office, or CBO. It established a permanent budget committee for each house, and it limited the President's ability to impound or hold funds designated by Congress. The law was designed to engage Congress more actively in the budget process. The use of the legislative veto gave Congress the power to cancel actions of executive agencies. Between 1932 and 1983, it was used frequently. In 1983, however, it was ruled unconstitutional. Rider legislation and pork barrel spending. Congress has continually made deals between members in order to get important legislation passed. This legislation, known as pork, is called so because it is wasteful and unnecessary. Presidents have always sought a way around this type of spending. A line item veto. Presidents have continually sought a law that would allow them to pass only certain parts of a bill instead of the entire piece of legislation. And this is called the line item veto. The line item veto was passed by Congress and signed by President Clinton. It was soon ruled unconstitutional, however, because it took from Congress powers and gave them to the President. To the right, you see the bridge at Ketchikan Island, Alaska, and it is a good example of pork barrel spending, a massive bridge project which has been sought by Alaskan representatives to an island that only has 50 inhabitants, and it has been nicknamed the Bridge to Nowhere. Clearly something that benefits construction firms and local business interests who would build it. That concludes our discussion of Congress versus the President. Thank you for viewing, and I look forward to seeing you in a live lesson. Have a great day.